In a realm where shadows dance with light, through the whispering woods at night, secrets echo through the air, meta mysteries everywhere. Voices drift on winds untamed, words like spells that can't be named. Close your eyes and feel the sound, journey where no bounds are found. Open doors inside your mind, leave the ordinary far behind. Colors swirl and stars align, in the meta mysteries you'll find.
Welcome to Meta Mysteries, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Sean.
And today is Wonder Wednesday live show time, baby.
That's my favorite, dude.
I think it's everybody's favorite, especially everybody who joins in on these kinds of conversations. If you're new to listening to the show, we do go live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central if you subscribe on Patreon at the Wonder Wednesday tier. So if you're interested in something like that, then definitely come join us. We like to not only get weird,
but we stay weird, dude.
Oh, man.
You know, and tonight's I wasn't gonna leave you hanging, dude. And tonight's topic, dude, is one of those things, you know, besides the near-death experiences. This is like the closest thing I think that gives us like a sign that like there's some extra shit going on.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's actually really wild. What we're going to be talking about tonight is kids who remember their past lives. I look, I know that kids, they can have quite the imagination on them, but whenever they get so specific and they remember exact details of from stories that, you know, look, I understand kids can get a little imaginative, but I mean, to this level, like to this rate, and it's not one or two kids, it's not just one a year or one every decade or something like that. No, it's actually happening a lot more than you think. And some would actually argue a lot more now than ever before.
I would imagine probably just as frequently as the near-death experiences, but we just don't really hear about it unless you actively go and look into these things.
Yeah, I mean, what is it going to be posted on the news? No, because they like to divide over there. This would bring people together and have a conversation to talk about.
Right.
Although the idea of reincarnation is pretty divisive. Some people believe that we incarnate. Some people don't believe that. I'm not going to. I definitely believe that our energy continues. There's no doubt about that. Like, I know that has to be a thing, you know, with the laws of the thermodynamics and whatnot. But I don't know if it's always as a human. And that sounds kind of strange, but that's, you know, that's just the life that we've always lived. We can't imagine it any other way. But I mean, how many times have you had a dream where it didn't feel like Earth per se?
Right.
You know
what? I would actually argue and say that it's probably rare that you get to be human. There are so many different species out there, you know, and so I feel like consciousness is the same. You're just working through different parameters. And so when you are, let's say, an iguana, you know what I mean? You're just living now through those parameters and you don't know any different. You know what I'm saying?
Well, even an iguana is still of Earth. You know what I mean? Like that's I don't know.
Oh, you're thinking even bigger than that then. Okay.
I mean, just imagine a I don't even know what to call it. An experience in which you're something that is not of this earth, something that you can't explain. Or maybe you go to a whole new, a whole other earth in some other kind of dimension or in somebody else's dream. And certain words mean different things. Certain things mean different things. You know, like maybe a president is just a normal person and a person with the title of a person is like the leader. Or, you know what I mean? Like, and this is something that I thought about, you know, on a couple of psychedelic trips. I'm not going to lie. I had realized within a couple of those, mainly one of them, I was actually one of the times I was over at your house and I remember like trying to go to sleep, and if you've ever been on any kind of psychedelic, mushrooms, whatever, it's hard to go to sleep that night,
It's the most fun
because
you'll ever have with your eyes closed. You know
oh,
what I
your
mean?
mind doesn't stop. Like
Right.
it stays tripping. And
Mm-hmm.
like if you try and block it out, it trips you out even more.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this one night that I was over at your place, I was trying to go to sleep. It was really late because typically we don't go to sleep until 4 or 5 whenever you wherever you're
Oh
at
yeah,
our house.
dude. Hmm.
And I was trying to go to sleep and I just kept on feeling like I was getting, I don't know, downloads or whatever people call them nowadays, but I
Hmm.
was getting like this thought of basically a world with people in it, but the things mean different things.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that has anything to do with perspective per se. I think that just things were different in this other place. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like it's like I don't know. It's hard to even describe because it's so fleeting from you. Um,
Hmm.
that it's you're trying to describe something that you can't compare it to. You know,
Hmm.
that's how a lot of those experiences are on psychedelics. But anyway, there are certain things that you can describe, and that's what these little kids are here to do today. So we have a couple of examples that we're going to be bringing up,
All right.
and dude, these are mind blowing.
Hmm.
Because look, if your kid's gonna make something up, it's gonna have dragons, it's gonna have fairies, it's gonna have
Yep.
princesses, it's gonna have monster jam trucks or some kind of shit. Like it's gonna be something like that. It's
Hmm.
not going to be, oh, I remember whenever I was in one of the twin towers,
Right.
and I remember the building being struck, and I was
Hmm.
alive all the way down until I what like a little kid's not gonna make that
Think
up,
about that. Yeah, a
you
kid
know?
and a little kid would have zero reason to even think to lie about that in the first place.
Right.
I think so, dude. So before we get started, we just want to say welcome to all of the one
What's
out
up,
there. Very
everybody?
nice, very nice to see all you guys here. Super Marky said, "What is up, everyone? Glad to see y'all." The resident Canadian in the mud. What it do, bro?
What up?
Said, "Wore my blue Avians jersey for my first live. Just wanted to say hello to the world. Let's go, dude." Yeah, he
Came prepared.
definitely tuned in on one of the previous lives with the blue avian aliens, and
Yeah, dude.
I don't know why I cannot find that hat for the life of me. I think
It's gone.
it must be in Luisa's car. Maybe it flew away. Who knows?
Right, who knows?
Oh, it is in there. Okay, I never drive her car. Like hardly ever do I drive her car anymore. So yeah, it's probably in there. Anyway, look, we are going to be having a fun conversation today, and this is something that I don't want people to go into this and be like, oh, it's just little kids, or I don't know what to believe. And maybe it's somebody's parents that's trying to get their kids famous or trying to get their face in the newspaper. Like,
Such a weird way to get famous, I think. You know?
that is logical mind in control. And not to say that you shouldn't always squint a little bit at some information. It's not to say you just believe everybody and all their wild stories, but
Hmm.
I mean, just imagine if it is real. Imagine if it is true. Put yourself in that frequency for a minute
Hmm.
for this kind of conversation because you can say what you want about certain breeds of aliens. You can say what you want about certain channelers. You want to say what you want about Bashar or Sadhguru or Dolores Cannon. Okay. I mean, I personally believe most of them and most of the things they say, but whenever it comes to the kids, I feel like there's something to it, dude. So,
They're
uh,
closer to that side, dude. You know what I mean? The veil is a bit thinner for them, I believe.
Here.
yeah, I think so. I mean, look, they're closer to the other
Yeah.
side. You know what I mean? Like they were just there. And so,
Mhm. Yeah,
best
and they
believe,
don't have that ego and all the other shit that's kind of built up, the programming and all these things to even think that this is a wrong thought to have or you know what I mean, to have the understanding that this is what they might have experienced. You know, they don't have that built up yet.
yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you what, dude. As soon as my son, he's learning how to say some words right now. He's
Mhm.
there. He's only 2.5 years old. As soon as he starts formulating sentences, you
Where-
best believe I will be like that detective with the look in his face. Where'd you come from? Who
Where
sent
were you before this?
I need to know. Give it to me. Don't play stupid over
Don't be
here.
holding out. Don't be holding out.
I know you remember. So anyway, it's probably going to come off a little aggressive, but that's okay. So I do have a fun little TikTok here that I did want to share with the class.
Rolling
And
out the projector, huh?
got to roll it out. And this is kind of a compendium or a cornucopia of
If you will.
instances of kids that are remembering their past lives, and their parents have caught them on video talking about it. And I mean, you let me know what you think, Sean,
All right.
and everybody else,
I will.
because I saw this and I was like, oh my God, like these kids are getting so emotional talking about this. Just check it out.
All right, man.
The world will begin again.
The plane hit the World Trade Center, then it got stuck in the building. When I was falling, I was still alive, and then all the rubble hit me. I didn't feel anything because I died.
Cade started asking me to change his name, that he didn't like Cade. He was just very insistent that Cade was not his name.
The river made us pass away.
The river did?
Yes,
The river made me and you pass away
yes,
a long time ago?
yes. And now we're back.
Okay. And you got that from Scenic Relaxation and AK.
Yes, I did. Dad, we just passed away.
In the river?
Yes, passed away in the river.
By yourself?
With you. I want to pass away again.
You are?
I want to again.
You want to again?
Yeah, because I don't want to be here.
You don't want to be here?
No,
Why? Why don't you want to be here?
I will come back soon.
Be a pirate again.
You do?
Yeah.
When were you a pirate?
I was a long time ago when you weren't alive, and then I shrunk into a little kid. And I never could be a pirate again.
Dude, what? All right, the pirate one. Okay, you can say what you want about that. I
Right.
mean, there have
But
obviously
the kid
been-
crying though, that was like some deep shit. Like he was really going through it, man. What do you make of that?
I mean, he remembers, dude. And that's around the age that they say usually up until about 7 is the cutoff from when kids will start being more entrenched into this reality, more entrenched into this world. And so they start to forget remnants of the past or where they came from. And I don't know. I mean, even the pirate one, I'm thinking like, I mean, pirates have always been a thing. Pirates are still a thing now.
They're still a
you
thing,
know?
right? Yeah.
So, yeah, dude, that's just a fun little example. But the reason why this show is happening today is because somebody referred this topic to us. Shout out to the podcast. I had them on the Cult of Conspiracy called Acid for Squares. They are awesome, dude.
Love the name.
They are definitely going to be coming to Meta Mysteries soon. I just want to
Fuck
put
yeah.
a little gap in between, but they're great, dude. So Dr. Ian Stevenson is a lot like the same kind of doctor that we learned about with the near-death experiences. Yeah.
Yep.
But he spent his entire life trying to prove reincarnation, not necessarily trying to prove the afterlife like the NDE person. This one was trying to prove reincarnation specifically through kids who remember and kids who are keeping account of these kind of things. But just to introduce you here to Dr. Ian Stevenson, he died. He's not around anymore. He lived a long life though. I want to say almost 90 years old. Yeah, 89 years old. But so he was around from 1918 until 2007. But Dr. Ian Stevenson was a psychiatrist who worked for the University of Virginia School of Medicine for 50 years. So he wasn't no scrub. I mean, 50 years working for a university. He was the chair of the Department of Psychiatry from 1957 to 1967, the Carlson Professor of Psychiatry from 1967 to 2001, and a research professor of psychiatry from 2002 until his death. He was also the founder and director of the University of Virginia's Division of Perceptual Studies, investigating parapsychological phenomena such as reincarnation, near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and altered states of consciousness and psi. He became internationally recognized for his research into reincarnation by discovering evidence suggesting that memories and physical injuries can be transferred from one lifetime to another. He traveled extensively over a period of 40 years, investigating 3,000 cases of children around the world who recalled having past lives. His meticulous research presented evidence that such children had unusual abilities, illnesses, phobias, and philias. I don't know what that is, which could not be explained by the environment or heredity. All right. So
what year did it say he died, real quick? Just out of my own curiosity.
2007.
2007. Oh, okay. Maybe he's a little kid right now talking about he used to do this shit. You know what I mean? He came back.
Is. Yeah. Maybe he's on like planet Neptune saying, I was on Earth. Nobody believes me.
Reincarnation's real. I was trying to figure it out. I was doing it for 50 years, and no one's believing him,
Until he presents some facts and they're like, where did this little fucking kid come from?
How do you know that?
But yeah, so one of the main things that he was focused on was certain kids, well, everybody, I don't know, is it a fact that everybody has a birthmark? I got a couple of them.
Not sure.
Well, he was trying to tie in the birthmarks to, all right, well, that's how you died, or that's how you were injured, or that's what happened to you in a past life. And this,
I remember this, right?
Yeah, this is something that Dolores Cannon said for, her whole life whenever she, got into QHHT. But she had said, like, and many other people, this is something that it's really strange, because you would send somebody to a past life regression, and weirdly enough, how they die is how their birthmark is, like where their birthmark would be. So, if you got shot in the head, maybe you have a birthmark on your head. If you got shot in the chest, maybe you got stabbed in the chest, maybe, you had a heart attack. I don't know. Like, it's always some kind of weird things. My birthmark is on my junk, so I must have been fucking around.
Yeah. It actually tracks. It tracks, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. But it is really strange, how that energy would be able to transfer to the next life. It's almost like that energy of, who you were in a past life and how you die or how you were injured or whatever happened to you. It like follows you wherever you go into that next life. Could that be actual physical remnants of karma then? Like, is that physical proof of karma at that point?
Yeah, I wonder what research this gentleman did, as far as, like, let's say the kid that died in the World Trade Center. Like, did that kid have a birthmark, and how does that correlate? Not that he did any research on that kid from the TikTok, obviously, but it'd be interesting to find out,
Well, there's a bunch of wild stories, but anyway, we can check out a little bit more on Dr. Ian Stevenson, a little bit more as far as his research goes. By the way, the name of this website is near-death.com. So that's our kind of website right there. But it says, Dr. Stevenson's reincarnation research began in 1960 when he learned of a case in Sri Lanka where a child reported remembering a past life. He thoroughly questioned the child and the child's parents, including the people whom the child recalled were his parents from his past life. Wow. Imagine that. This led to Dr. Stevenson's conviction that reincarnation was a possible reality. That same year, Dr. Stevenson published 2 articles in the Journal of American Society for Psychical Research. Is that psychical? Yeah. Okay. About this child who remembered having a past life. The more such cases he discovered, the greater became his ambition to scientifically quantify the possibility of reincarnation, one of the world's greatest mysteries, which had been virtually ignored by science in the past. In 1982, Dr. Stevenson co-founded the Society for Scientific Exploration. He authored around 300 papers and 14 books on the subject of reincarnation. His 1966 book, 20 Cases Suggestive of Reincarnation, became a classic in the annals of reincarnation research. In 2003, Dr. Stevenson published his second book on reincarnation, titled European Cases of the Reincarnation Type. In 1997, he published his major classic, the 2,268-page, 2-volume book. Holy
God.
shit. That's like, I don't even know if I know that many words.
He didn't have time for nothing else for a minute, you know?
For real, dude. But anyway, that book is called Reincarnation in Biology, a contribution to the etiology of birthmarks and birth defects, which focus mostly on deformities and other anomalies children are born with, which cannot be traced back to inheritance, prenatal, or perinatal, created during birth, occurrences. This monumental classic contains hundreds of pictures representing the evidence that he discovered. It documents 200 cases of children having memories and birthmarks which corresponded with the lives and wounds of deceased people whom these children recalled as having lived in a past life.
How do you think
connected them?
What's making that happen? You know, like, let's just like try to analyze that for a minute. Like, how does the way that you die in a past life manifest into your new life? You know, is it just because it was so potent, you know, and it was in your thought as you were being created that it was just it just became, you know?
I mean, I think that what is actually going on as humans and as consciousness, I think that there's some kind of symbiotic relationship that we have. And, you know, it's not that we're a human having a spiritual experience. And I don't even want to go all the way and say that you're a spirit experiencing a human experience, because I mean, that kind of takes away from the human experience at that point. I do understand when people say that, but I think that it is very intertwined. And so I think that you probably, like, obviously, you know, you are you, like, you have a body, you have fingers and all, you have a head and all these things. But I think that incarnation, that symbiotic relationship that you had with the body that you previously had, has some kind of transfer over into this new life. And that's what he's trying to prove here. And so it's, I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around it and trying to figure out how it would be possible, because think about it like this, you know, whenever you die, all you are is just a consciousness. All you are is just a soul or just an energy. Like, how is it possible that a physical thing that happened to you in that life, to a body which you do not transfer into the next life, somehow carries over into the next one? Right. This is almost like many worlds interpretation style thing. What is the one? Is that the one where basically as soon as you die in this life, then you just jump into another body in another life?
That's the many worlds, right? So you never really fully experience death, because when you die here, your consciousness like shifts supposedly to another world in which you didn't die, and so then you never actually experience death. I don't know.
I mean, and that's what we're going to see here, but that's what one of the kids were talking about, that basically he didn't necessarily experience death. He said whenever he was about to die, he didn't experience the pain. He just was born. I mean, it's wild shit. But anyhow, in 1997, Dr. Stevenson published a condensed version of this book for the general public entitled Where Reincarnation and Biology Intersect. Dr. Stevenson's research into reincarnation also became the subject of two important works, called one of them called Old Souls, Compelling Evidence from Children Who Remember Past Lives, authored by Tom Schroeder, and Life Before Life, Children's Memories of Previous Lives, authored by Jim Tucker, a psychiatrist at the University of Virginia. Many people, including skeptics and scholars, agree that the cases presented by Dr. Stevenson offer the best evidence yet for reincarnation. During his original research into various cases involving children's memories of past lives, Dr. Stevenson did note with interest the fact that these children frequently bore lasting birthmarks, which supposedly relate to their murder or the death that they suffered in a previous life. Stevenson's research into birthmarks and congenital defects has such particular importance for the demonstration of reincarnation, since it furnishes objective and graphic proof of reincarnation superior to the often fragmentary memories and reports of the children and adults questioned, which, even if verified afterwards, cannot be assigned the same value in scientific terms. So he's trying to find physical proof, and he's claiming that the birthmarks are that physical proof that you're looking for. That is how you would prove that to somebody.
Okay. I mean, I give it to him for, even going that far and doing all that, but I'm at the point where I feel like the universe or this existence doesn't have to have physical proof. You know what I mean? I feel like it's all up to just however we want to interpret it and look at it. I remember I was like 10 years old when I at first really understood what reincarnation was. Like, somebody was talking about it, and I don't know, dude. To me personally, I felt like it was just like that's just what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no other reason to think that was impossible. Like, it resonated.
It's a thing where it depends kind of on in the household in which you grew up. I think that if you grew up in a religious household and you're going to some kind of service on a specific day of the week, then maybe you're less inclined to believe that this is possible, because how can you remember heaven?
Right.
Like that's where a lot of the conjecture goes. And I'm not saying that, anybody is wrong. We don't know. Like, that's what we always say. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
And just the sheer fact that so many of these cases have happened. I mean, there's a certain point, within anybody's belief that certain stories or certain scientific evidence or certain theories will stretch your definition of existence, of God, of the universe, completely out of the box that you put it in. And this is one of those cases.
Well, what I was thinking about is, like, everything seems to be cyclical. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always a cycle to things. And like, when a tree loses all of its leaves and it looks like it's dead, and then all of a sudden in the springtime the leaves start to come out again. It's like the tree didn't die and go to heaven or go to hell. It came back, And so, I don't know. That's just how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, the cyclical nature of everything. And, if you, like, look into everything that we're made up of, all of the minerals, all the dirt, all the different things, definitely seems like a lot of it comes from Earth. Yeah, there's a portion of it that is definitely from stardust, but you can make the argument that almost everything on Earth has portions of stardust in it.
Yep.
So, pretty wild. But anyhow, where was I? Okay. So in many cases presented by Dr. Stevenson, there are also medical documents available as further proof, which are usually compiled after the death of the person. Dr. Stevenson adds that in the cases he researched and quote unquote solved, in which birthmarks and deformities were present, he didn't suppose that there was any other opposite explanation than that of reincarnation. Only 30% to 60% of these deformities can be put down to birth defects which related to genetic factors, virus infections, or chemical causes, like those found in children damaged by certain drugs or alcohol. Apart from these demonstrable causes, the medical profession has no explanation for the other 40 to 70% of cases than that of a mere chance. Stevenson has now succeeded in giving us an explanation of why a person is born with these deformities and why they appear precisely in that part of their body and not in any other. Let's go, dude. So he does have certain things that he looks for. This is kind of a list of the common characteristics in most of his studies. We're not going to read all of them, but one of them is, in the most unusual scenario, it is possible that someone who believed in reincarnation expressed a wish to be reborn to a couple or one partner of a couple. This is usually because they are convinced that they would be well cared for by those particular people. Such preliminary requests are often expressed by the Tlingit Indians of Alaska and by the Tibetans. Actually, I kind of want to read all these now. That's too cool. Number two, more frequent than that are the occurrences of prophetic dreams. Someone who has died appears to a pregnant or not as yet pregnant woman and tells her that he or she will be reborn to her. Sometimes relatives or friends have dreams like this and will then relate the dream to the mother to be. Dr. Stevenson found these prophetic dreams to be particularly prolific in Burma and among the Indians in Alaska. Dude, those kind of dreams are really something. As a matter of fact, we're me and Louisa were watching the I can't remember what his name is now. We're watching the comedian Andrew Schultz. We're watching his latest stand-up on Netflix, and he's one hilarious fucking guy, by the way. Holy shit, definitely go watch that. But towards the end, not to give a spoiler, he talks about like the struggles that he had with getting his wife pregnant, and it was sad up until it was happy kind of thing. But he had said that his wife was laying in bed one night and had a nightmare that long story short, she ended up having to get IVF because he couldn't get her pregnant the traditional way. So they did the whole IVF thing. She got pregnant, and she had a nightmare one of the nights, and she goes, "Oh my God!" In the nightmare, I ended up losing the baby. Like I wasn't able to give birth to it. I ended up losing it. And that night, as soon as she woke up from that nightmare, she was bleeding.
Oh,
holy shit, dude. And so, like, it's weird how dreams are able to do that. Like, is it a prophecy? Is it some kind of weird download or something? And another thing is that, I'm also trying to get my wife pregnant for another time, just to give it another go. And so we're not sure if she's pregnant or not yet. Obviously, it's very early, but I went to the grocery store earlier to go get some pregnancy tests. Dude, I shit you not, so many signs were pointing me in the direction of, yeah, she's absolutely pregnant.
Oh, really?
I do. It's like 3 or 4 signs of me just walking through H-E-B, which is a grocery store in Texas.
Right.
And so many of them that I just kept on seeing. I was like, what? First of all, she asked me to go to the store to get 2 things. One of those things is pregnancy tests. The next thing is eggs. I'm like,
oh, right.
Come on, dude. And there was a couple of other things. My son was born in September of 2022. The total ended up coming to be $69.22. That's one of them. Maybe I'm pulling at straws here, whatever. I am also going down an aisle, and this was really crazy, but I was going down an aisle, and there was these 2 little kids in a buggy, and I'm passing them, not even thinking anything about it. Obviously, just random people or a few people in the grocery store. You're not paying attention to them.
Yeah.
I walk by, and I hear one of the little kids go, "Dada, dada," and I turn around. I swear to God, I thought it was my son. I was like, "Why is he here?" But like, just weird things like that are. And maybe I'm looking for it at this point. Maybe I am like, hopped up on hopium or something like that. But just weird. No,
I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. I feel like you're being shown what you're supposed to see. I think that's what's going on there.
Hey, do you guys mind if I pipe in for 1 sec?
Come on down.
Of course.
Dude, I was thinking a lot today. Like, in the wintertime, I don't work a lot. So a little tight on money, and things have been a little tougher than usual, but I'm making it work, for me and my dog. And I said, you know what? One thing I'd love to put some money into is somebody that I like listening to all the time. And I love listening to Cult of Conspiracies. So I found Meta Mysteries, and it's more down my alley. It's more like lighthearted, let's open up the windows and find out what's going on in this world rather than like putting it to some men in suits wearing fucking, this and that. And I'm not into all that. So yeah, man, finding you guys was unreal. So I paid today for your guys' membership. And I'm not going to put the numbers out there because it's your rightful thing to not have that out there, but a very reasonable price. And I would say anybody who's a cult or a Meta fan, definitely pay the subscription. It's worth it. And it ended up being a number that was something, I'll just say, in the threes. And it's an angel number, which means that I've got a lot of creativity coming my way. And when I saw that, I was like, this is meant to be. This is awesome.
I love it, dude.
So,
I appreciate your support,
boys. And I'm really glad to be here. And, I'm happy. I'm super stoned right now. So sorry about the freaking crazy brain right now. But love you guys, and you're hilarious. And I hope you guys keep this going, okay? And do your best.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate
that. We love you too, brother. And take a nice rip for me because I don't smoke until after the show.
Oh, dude, I will.
During the show, I can't speak.
After this, mute my ass, and I'll go to another toke for sure.
Let's go.
I don't be like Nick and pass out during the meditation.
Yeah. No, dude, I'll be meditating in the blackout version. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, not actually. But yeah, man, love you guys, and I like the spiritual work you're doing. It's different than the regular shit you hear all the time, right? So.
Hey, dude, we're just trying to stay as weird as possible while trying to discover the truth about this reality that we live in. It's actually, it actually blows my mind that more people don't question it. You know what I know? And it's like so weird. And I don't want to, kind of liken ourselves or people like us or people who listen to the show. But it almost reminds me of like, I don't know, those video games that now have the AI put into the characters. So they're no longer just NPCs, they're AI NPCs, which is really wild. But
way worse.
If you're playing one of those video games, you can go up and talk to one of the AI characters and be like, look, you're just an NPC. This isn't real. This isn't reality. And that one person starts to freak out and wants to go and tell all the other AIs, and the other AIs just don't.
Oh, shit. Yeah, bro. That's how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel. And you know what's crazy is, I don't want to cut anybody off or step on anyone's toes here. But man, I've been so in sync with your guys' shit lately. Like your guys' podcast, like I'll think of something, and you guys will talk about it that episode. It'll be like it's crazy stuff, man. I'm so in sync right now that actually I was talking to my mom on the phone the other day, and she said she had this really bad shoulder and headache, tension pain. And I was like, oh, damn, that sucks. I wish I could kind of like take that for you and kind of, relieve you of that pain. You're my mother. Like you've done so much for me. And turns out the next day I go to walk my dog, and I didn't stretch before. I was like, I should probably stretch, but I didn't. And I went for the walk with my dog, and I got this brutal shoulder pain and neck pain and headache. And I was like, oh, God. So I called my mom the next day, and I was like, hey, you're welcome. I took the headache and all this. She's like, what time did you go for your walk at? I said, 4:30. And she said I was right when my shoulder massage was, my neck massage and all that stuff. So I thought, I'm so in sync right now that it's actually blowing my mind, but I'm just trying to stay like Cassandra, I think it was, right? The psychic.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay even peel, like she would say, like, ask for more of that. Just say, can I have more? And I'm just asking for more, and I'm getting it everywhere I go, dude. Like with your guys' podcast, with Cult of Conspiracy podcast, I'll think of something and you guys will like discuss it the next week. It's amazing, man. I'm just enjoying the ride and I'm having so much fun. So
look, I think that certain people see synchronicities all the time. And it's one of those things where, I think that actually everybody probably witnesses some kind of synchronicity, and they'll just say, oh, that's a weird coincidence. Oh, that's strange. I just saw that. Or, oh, that's weird. We were just talking about that. For example, here's a fun one. Last night, so we can never get through a whole show whenever over in this house because of the baby or because of the shows, and there's always something. So we watch our shows in like portions, right? And so we started watching that Andrew Schultz comedy skit, right? And then we were like, well, I think that I ended up having to do a show or something like that. And then afterward, I was like, me and Luisa were huge wrestling fans. And so we were like, you know what? Oh, Monday Night Raw, we can watch that. And so we turned on Monday Night Raw, and I shit you not, bro. The guest that they had at that Monday Night Raw was Andrew Schultz. We were like, what the fuck? We were just watching that.
I'm telling you, man.
What is going on? And even Luisa was like, am I the only one that think this is weird? I'm like, hey, welcome to my world. This is
Dude,
all the time.
Man, it's my shit's been so wild lately that I'm like bragging to people about it. And I've never done that before. I've never been like, this is synchronicity shit. No, I'm like, dude, I'm owning it and I'm having so much fun with it. It's kind of nice, man.
Yeah.
And here I am in one of my favorite podcasts. I think you guys are growing to be one of my, especially after last episode live. I'm so pissed I missed the freaking reading, man, from Cassandra. That sucks. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. She'll definitely be back probably in a couple months.
Dude, I freaking love her, man. She's so freaking dope.
Oh, dude! Like every
She's
time
so
show, every time we're done with the show, Luisa's always like, "I want her. Can we keep her?"
Yeah, like can we just keep her forever?
I don't think you can adopt somebody older than you, but
oh, dude, man.
But yeah, she's awesome, dude. But I did want to. You had said about your mom's shoulder, and then you almost taking that for her, and that there was something, Sean. If you remember this, it was I don't know.
I took your busted toe for you is what I did.
Bro,
I didn't even know I did it. It just happened.
So I used to have
that shit, man.
Yeah, I used to have plants on top of my windowsills, and so I would have to climb on top of my couch in order to water them, right? And I went to go step down, and I missed my step, and I fucked my foot up, and I thought it was going to be broken or sprained or something like that because whenever I landed on it, it hurt so bad.
That shit rolled it or something, yeah.
Fucked, dude. And I was like actually shocked that it didn't even really hurt after the initial hurt, like the initial pain, and then there was no lingering pain after that. Later that day, Sean calls me and he's like, dude, I'm in a lot of pain. My foot is really hurting. And he goes, it's just like it happened out of nowhere. Like I didn't hit it on anything or anything like that. Like, oh my
just bada bing, bada boom, your toes fucked. That was it. Yeah.
That's actually crazy, man. I'm telling you, it's a real thing. If you guys have time for one more story, actually, my ex-girlfriend and I, we were dating for about a year, and it was one thing we were trying to work on is her quitting smoking. And I was like, it's up to you. You can do it if you want. I don't really care as long as you fucking do mouthwash before we go to bed, whatever. She's like, no, I really want to do this. So she quit smoking. She's doing great. She's like 2 weeks in. And she's like, you know what's weird? Usually by this time of the 2 weeks in, I get like the flu-like symptoms and I get very sick. The next day, you know what I got?
Oh, shit.
I got that fucking quitting smoking flu. That shit was rough, bro.
Oh,
that was the worst flu I've ever had, dude. I'm not vaccinated for any vaccines or bullshit. I've never gotten COVID, but yeah, that shit really sucked.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it'll sneak up on you. As a matter of fact,
that shit will sneak up on you.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm actually fighting off this sickness right now. And man, like I'm not somebody who gets sick per se, like all the time. Like I know, like, dude, my sister and my brother-in-law, I swear every 2 weeks they're sick again. I'm like, change your fucking filters in your house or something. Like there's
gotta do something
on. Right. And so I whenever I get sick, dude, I am pathetic. Like I am an absolute waste. There's hard, like it's amazing.
That man flu.
Exactly. It's amazing that I can even get in front of a microphone and talk. Like that's because my energy was very low the past couple of days. But actually recently I just gotten this new medicine, which it's not medicine, it's vitamins. But I noticed that, I was doing a little bit of research just in episodes past. I mean, I've been doing this conspiracy kind of podcast for a long time. And so I know like certain medicine that you can take, certain vitamins that you can take to fight off certain sicknesses. I'm not going to name any. But one of the big ones is if you take vitamin D3 and K2. And I actually got one of them recently. It's by this company called Better Alt. And dude, you take one of those bad boys a day. And I'm like, I took it earlier today and I was like, holy shit, like I'm fully coherent, I'm in the game, I'm ready to go. And it's just crazy because there's a lot of like certain vitamins because that we don't necessarily get access to because we're in the house all the time, or we're not getting all that natural sunlight and getting all the natural air. You're getting that filtered air conditioning air all the time. And so if you're somebody that stays in the house a little bit too often, then this kind of thing is absolutely really good for your health and help you bounce back like with the quickness. That's what they always say. You want to make sure you're getting the vitamin D and drinking lots of water. Well, this one is the vitamin D and the vitamin K. And dude, telling you, it's like a fucking miracle drug. But anyway, enough about my vitamins. I take so many vitamins on a regular basis. It's unreal. Mainly magnesium, but
out of necessity, right?
Out of necessity, yeah. For those who have problems going to the bathroom regularly, take magnesium. But anyway, all right, let's get back. Enough about our not you. I mean, I love your stories. All right, let's get back to it. So, in a lot of some more of the characteristics from Dr. Stevenson, he goes, in these cultures, the body, talking about the cultures of the Indians of Alaska and of Burma, but in these cultures, the body of a newborn child is checked for recognizable marks to establish whether the deceased person that they had once known has been reborn to them. It's just woven within the culture that they look for that.
Do. Wow.
Oh, dude. So it says this searching for marks of identification is very common among cultures that believe in reincarnation, and especially among the Tlingit Indians. I never heard of them. And the Igbos of Nigeria. Various tribes of West Africa make marks on the body of the recently deceased in order to be able to identify the person when he or she is reborn.
They're just crazy to go trying stuff like that, you know?
I mean, hey, it must be for a reason, right? Like they must have been able to prove this time and time and time again for it to be part of your culture like that.
Right. Holy shit.
Well, another way is it says the most frequently thing. So it went from least frequent to most frequent, but the most frequent occurring event or common denominator relating to rebirth is probably that of a child remembering a past life. Children usually begin to talk about their memories between the ages of 2 to 4. Such infantile memories gradually dwindle when the child is between 4 and 7. They are, of course, always there are, of course, always some exceptions, such as a child continuing to remember its previous life but not speaking about it for various reasons. So, I mean, that's what we're going to get into a little bit more today, as far as certain accounts of kids remembering it. And there's a bunch more, statistics and all that kind of stuff here.
Yeah, I remember there was a day I saw this one story. It was about this kid, and apparently he was saying that he got shot down. He was in World War II or one of those, and his airplane got shot down, and he named some people, and lo and behold, they go and they find out that this certain person did exist, and blah blah blah, and it's like I couldn't get enough, dude. I just started watching a bunch of them, man. It's so fascinating.
It is really cool. So he does have like certain cases documented within the book that, what was it, the 2,000-page book or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But there are certain pictures. So if you'll see right here, this guy was born with some kind of deformity on the back of his head, and it says large verrucous epidermal nevus, whatever that is, on the back of the head of a Thai man who as a child said that he remembered the life of his paternal uncle who was killed with a blow on the head from a heavy knife.
Whoa.
So isn't that strange? Like, we're talking about examples here of not only just you remembering your specific life, but in a lot of the cases, the kids remember other people witnessing those lives.
Yeah, that's it.
And I mean, what do you do with that? I mean, I think that it just doesn't that kind of make sense if everybody is everybody. So you remembering a past life isn't necessarily your past life kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking about is like, but then how does that work? Like if, let's say you remember your past life, quote unquote, of being this World War II veteran, but like, what if what if you are just remembering, or the essence or the energy of that person is kind of just like lingering around? You know what I'm saying? And that's what you're picking up on. Or could it be like a walk-in of some sort? Because after a certain age, these kids kind of tend to let that go eventually. You know, it's not something that they live with the whole life, at least as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, and there are various like weird kind of cases that we're going to talk about. But the ones where people remember lives of other people it's not just one case, like it's a lot of cases. And I think that that actually proves, you know, you hear about certain people getting regressed to a past life, and somebody was Cleopatra, somebody was Jesus, somebody was King Tut, somebody was always somebody famous, which isn't necessarily always the case, especially with me. I've never had any specific famous person. But you know, people who remember those specific, like kind of famous past lives, could it be that they're just picking up on the energy of the source, and that source has all the information, and we all come from that, and we are all that, and it just seems like, oh well, I'm an individual and I have this past life and nobody else has this past life. I don't think that's the case, and this is probably why, you know, the whole plan, whenever you come here and you reincarnate into this life, it's to dissolve the ego, like to help you remember where you came from, because where you came from, there wasn't division, there wasn't the illusion of separation. You weren't you, I wasn't me, you know, like we were all part of one thing at some
We
time
are
or another.
everybody and nobody at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and of course that's a theory, and but I mean, especially getting into Neoplatonism, you know, whenever we found out that there's the one and something called the nous, N-O-U-S, and then, you know, the levels that emanate even further from that, but even coming from Neoplatonism, there is a source in which everything emanates from. And I actually, you know, whenever we did that, I was like, oh my God, like, this makes the most sense. It has to make the most sense. You know, like there has to be a source in which everything came from. And then little things grow from that. And the little lives would come from that. And plants would come from that. And it's like, you know, there's always some kind of network, but that network has to leave, or has to lead back to one thing, you would imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I go back and forth as far as like there being a creator, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I was watching some things today, dude, that really led me to believe that there must be, dude. You know, there must be something that all of this comes from for us to live on this planet, you know, that seems to be just perfectly designed for us, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get stuck in the idea of a creator because that would mean that there would have had to have been a beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so there would have to be a beginning if there was a creator. And for some reason, I mean, to each their own. I'm not here to say what's right and what's wrong. It's just my own personal, you know, where I lean on more than anywhere else is that there never was a beginning and there will never be an end. Like, and so if that does make sense, because illusion is a time, or time is an illusion anyway. And so how could you say that there's a beginning and an end if there's no time? So it's like, to me, it just adds up in my mind, but maybe I'm just too logical. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we got a long time to think about this kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things that we'll probably never really fully know until maybe we get to the other side. And then we look at it and go, oh, okay, I see now. Now let me reincarnate so I can try to remember.
Well, that's the cool thing about anything spiritual or magical or ethereal or divine or anything, is that it doesn't seem very concrete. It seems more fluid than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is another example. This is a congenital malformation of a nail on a right toe, the great toe, so the big toe. I never knew it was called the great toe. I don't know what's so great about it, but just kidding. Actually, my brother always called it what did he say? Thumb toes.
A thumb toe. That makes sense to me.
But the great toe, so he had a messed up nail on one of his big toes of a Thai subject. This malformation corresponded to a chronic ulcer of the right great toe from which the subject's uncle had suffered.
Wow.
So in this incarnation, his uncle had suffered that I guess, died from it, and maybe it carried on.
I don't know, dude. I don't know how this fucking works. You're blowing my mind, you know?
I don't know either. I'm just this is just what this guy has found. Another one, a small, round, puckered birthmark of a Thai boy that corresponded to the bullet wound of an entry in a man whose life that he said he remembered and who had been shot with a rifle from behind. So a little kid comes up to you and he's like, dude, I remember somebody getting shot in the back of the head. Like, not in this life, in another life. And then that person is a person in this life, or you're that person in this life. Weird, dude.
Yeah, I got a birthmark on, like, towards the back of my head, but it's like just my hair is a different color. It's like blonde, just in that one little patch. So I probably got shot like back into the left, and then that's probably what happened to my face. That's why it's like this. I don't know.
And it doesn't even have to necessarily be shot. I mean, maybe you fell and your head landed on a spike, or
Some
like
shit.
it could be,
Right.
maybe you got stabbed in the head, or I don't know. It could be maybe you fell from a large distance and you splattered and your head was the first thing to hit, or something like that, right?
Sounds right. Back in the day, there was a lot of spikes, I think. So that's probably what it was.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, they were pretty gruesome with a lot of their torture techniques.
Dude, don't they say, like, if you have like these two like moles in your arm, your left arm, you're born in the 90s, like this big thing that's going on right now?
Yeah,
I
got
heard something like that. Yeah, I've got.
Yeah,
the same
and
thing.
I have the exact same ones that they're talking about, but I also have something else that I think a lot of people have. But I have these random holes. I don't know if you can see that.
What is that on your arm there?
Yeah, it's like on my forearm. I have these two random holes on both, like, of my forearms, and they're in the same spot. And my mom just told me they were like some shot they gave me or something when I was a kid, but I was like, I don't know, that's kind of weird. Like, I just have these random indents in my forearms. So
I don't know of too many people getting shots in their forearms.
Yeah. So I'm especially my mom saying that, I'm like, I don't really think that's something that happens often, Mom. She's like, oh yeah, you got it. Don't worry. Like,
don't even worry about it.
Don't even worry about it. It's nothing.
No big deal. Yeah.
No big deal. Yeah. So
really
I'm hoping. Sorry.
No, it's just really strange, like how we have certain marks like that, and maybe it's hereditary, maybe it's congenital, maybe it's from a past life. I mean, that's what they were saying, is that around 60% of the birthmarks or whatever can be proven scientifically, but then there's still 40 to 60% that nobody knows. Like, it's just up in the air.
Yeah, exactly. That's what leads more credence to this fact that these children are, actually seeing these things. And, there's no way, what we always say is there's no way there's that many coincidences until it becomes something that it might be, have some credence to it. And that's kind of what I'm going with on this episode right now, is you guys got some credence to this shit. So,
hey, dude, I mean,
keep upping it.
We're just picking up a couple of, like, one thing at a time, and
that's it.
2 years has gone by. It's a weird thing, but
yo, dude, honestly, guys, respect. Let's go.
Let's go.
Thanks, bud.
Respect.
So there is. I was looking up information on this topic, and of course, the QHHT website by Dolores Cannon has something to say about it.
All right, of course.
It says, "Is reincarnation true? About 33% of Americans believe it. This, can you believe it, includes 29% of Christian Americans even believe in reincarnation."
Really?
In most
That's a
cases,
shocker.
yeah, it is. But it says in most cases, it is children who remember past lives, but occasionally the adults. The topic has been at the forefront of fascination for centuries for believers and skeptics alike. The idea of life after death is too mysteriously unknown for us to deny, and when a story of a child's past life memories comes up, we simply must know more. This article will focus on a child's past life with references to real life cases where children's statements bring true befuddlement but strike pure curiosity. So It says, do you know a child who remembers a past life occurrence? If you are an avid YouTuber or spent an afternoon getting lost in the endless stream of science fiction, we are sure that you have stumbled across many amounts of children who remember past lives. There are incidences where parents have reported the creepy things that kids say about past lives. It is a naturally unearthing feeling when you hear such things. Any good horror movie has a creepy child in it because it goes against all things natural. But these so-called creepy things they speak about could be memories of previous lives. Here are some other signs that may hint that a child that you know is remembering life before life. So then they bring up Dr. Ian Stevenson here. So we're on the right path.
Right.
And then they get into the old soul. So the idea of an old soul, and people have different opinions about this. Did your soul spark, or your spark of God, or the spark of all, did it happen at a different time? And why are there old souls and why are there new souls? I don't know how this shit works.
If I had to guess, I feel like we're all old souls if there was never a beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then they get into recurring night terrors, which I'm interested in that one. It says dreams can be quite intense for young children, especially bad ones. Not bad kids, bad dreams.
Yeah.
As parents or older siblings, it is important to support children who experience this, as their little brains might need help to decipher what went on, or purely just to reassure them. Naturally, we want to say it's just a dream, but you must try to take note of whether the dream happens repeatedly, because it might be apparent memories from a previous life. So nightmares. I mean, that's one way to get it across. Another one is imaginary friends. Sean, did you ever have an imaginary friend when you were a kid?
No, dude, I never did. There was one thing though, actually, that I feel like I remember experiencing. Like, I feel like I was always being watched, you know what I mean? And I know that sounds weird, but I felt like there was, like, even if I was in my room by myself, I just felt like there was something else going on. Like, I don't know, like, it's hard to say, like, not like a hidden camera or some shit like that, but just that no matter what, I can still be observed somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I felt that same. I've felt that for the majority of my life. You know, whenever people talk about feeling lonely or something like that, that thought never registered in my mind, because yes, everybody's been alone. I've been alone before in my life, you know, in the car driving alone most of the time. Right.
Yeah.
But I've never felt alone. So whenever somebody says I feel lonely, I'm just like, how are you even feeling that? But then I go to question, like, why do I not feel lonely? You know what I mean? Like, it'll get you to question stuff like that. But
yeah, because it's you.
Nora.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Cut you off there. Nora, what are your thoughts on this? Have you had a imaginary friend, or maybe some of your kids?
Oh, actually, yeah. My eldest daughter, she'll be 3 at the end of this month. And sidestep, before my husband and I even had kids, but this topic is very fascinating to us, and we agreed, okay, if our kids ever say anything like this, we get out our phone, you record, what have you. And there's a couple of times we were playing with our eldest daughter, and, just playing in a room. And then she'll say, hey, before I was born, I climbed up this really big slide. I slid down, then I popped out of Mama's tummy.
Whoa.
I
So
mean,
we are.
what? I don't even know what to do with that, because
Yeah.
it would be an experience. I mean, was that an experience to where, not to get crude or anything, but could she have possibly died going down this slide or something like that, and bang, reincarnated that fast? Or was she like in the ethereal realm of sorts and was able to just picture a slide that she's going down, and that's how she's going to enter this world? You know, like, my mind, whenever I hear stuff like that, I'm like, what are the possibilities for a story like that?
The rainbow bridge of a slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine it being the ethereal, like she's way up there in the ethereal and she's sliding down to be born. And another quick sidestep, I also believe that our greatest fear or phobia in this life is the reason why we died in the last life, because
Mm.
I used to be incredibly terrified of heights, mainly going across tall bridges over water. Like I've had nightmares of being in the car and driving over a bridge and drowning.
That makes a lot of sense actually, because I've had the thought as far as whatever it is that you struggle with the most in this life, then that would obviously be the thing that you're here to learn or to conquer or to get over. And so that I mean that could be a thing.
Could be. I know like my mom always told me, dude, like my mom always said that she kept on having this recurring nightmare where she would die in this nightmare from a tornado. She always like she almost like always been I'm gonna die in a tornado. I already know it's going to happen. And then cut to like I was like 12 years old and I remember going outside in the backyard. This is in Pennsylvania, tornadoes all the time up there. But I remember going to the backyard and I remember be like, "Hey Ma, is there a tornado forming above our house?" And dude, she came outside and dude, it was crazy. Like you could literally see it like you could see her going out there and being like, "Oh my God, like my dream has manifested. The time is
The
now," because
fear.
you could literally see like the funnel starting to form above the house like that. And she was tripping out and she called my dad, come home, we're gonna go to the neighbor's house and go get in their basement. I know it's gonna happen." Whatever. But even similar, like for me, not of tornadoes. I mean, Twister is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Great
But,
movie.
don't talk about that Cat 5.
Right. Fucking Cat 5 throws everybody off.
But I've always been deathly afraid of snakes, dude. Like snakes, that's my one kryptonite. I don't even want to see the fucking things whenever I go into PetSmart. They just gross me out. Like it give me the EBGBs just thinking about it.
Why did it have to be snakes?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like for some reason. But Joel, you got your hand raised there, bro. What kind of story you got, sir?
Yeah, dude. So when I was a little kid, like I had this imaginary friend. Her name was Semery.
Mm.
And that's a weird name, like to begin with. I don't think I could have come up with that name, Semery, by myself. I'm not that creative.
Mm.
But I remember it was weird. She was like my imaginary friend, and I remembered how she looked like and everything like that. But I remember the last time I ever saw her was we were leaving my cousin's house, and my dad was in a rush, so we all got in the car, and I was like, "Come on, let's go." But my dad was getting mad, so he was yelling. He was like, "No, let's just go." And I was like, "Wait, what about my friend?" And then after that, I never saw her again. That's kind of weird.
Oh, so you actually saw her. Like you could
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the physical where you were, you could see her.
Yeah, it was like a little girl with a black hair, and I still kind of remember what she looks like. But
Oh, see, I never knew that. I just figured an imaginary friend, you're purposely making it up, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know you were actually seeing the friend. That's
no, and
interesting.
then after we left, or left her behind, I never after that I cried so much in the car, and I never saw her again. Kind of
Wow.
weird.
That is really strange. I mean, could it have been some kind of premonition or something at that point? Like so strange. But coming from the QHHT website, it says loads of children have what parents like to call an imaginary friend. This might be the easiest explanation, but sometimes the conversation between the child and the imaginary friend can seem a little too grown up. If the parents kept an open mind about this person their child is laughing and conversing with behind closed doors, it could be the sibling or a close loved one of your child's previous life. Oh.
Hmm.
That would make sense, and just going off of Marcus's past life regression. I mean, your boy, whenever you were existing in that life, was there in the afterlife there for you to just, look, you can't go in with this bad mood. You gotta lighten up a little bit,
Yeah.
like,
You got to be a galaxy. Quit tripping, you know?
yeah, quit tripping, baby girl. The next one is, this is an interesting one. It says sometimes children talk about their brothers and sisters, even though in their current life they are the only child in their family. This could be the children's memories of having a sibling in a past life. The memory is still strong in their youth. Whoa. That would be creepy. You hear your kid talking about like, oh, my brother's over there, or my sister's over there.
Yeah.
The fuck? You're the only one here.
Yeah. And then eventually that child comes. You know what I'm saying? It's like they just knew. Like, and what a weird thing to just make up, you know? I don't think they're making it up, man.
No, there's no way. And another one is they reference as to the T information. It says sometimes children surprise us by talking about things that their parents swear their child has never been exposed to with such my God, I can't say that word. Intricacy. There we go. And accuracy. The phenomena always takes us off guard. This could be resurfacing memories of a previous life. That's that 9/11 story, right? Like that is how would a
collective, dude?
Dude, a little kid is not going to have knowledge of a plane flying into two buildings at 6 years old. You're just not going to know that. You're not going to care about that.
Yeah, they didn't do like how they did to us, man. I was a freshman in high school. They rolled the TV in, and we watched that shit go down like in history class. You know what I'm saying? Like they showed us what was going on. It's like, man, I don't know. I feel like we should have signed some type of permission slip or something for that. That was pretty traumatic. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
We didn't even have a choice.
I know, dude. Yeah, you're just exposed to it automatically.
Yeah, dude.
This is another website right here, and we'll go back to that QHHT one, but this is a really cool one called freejupiter.com. It says, and it talks about the actual story of a 3-year-old boy remembering being murdered in his last life, correctly points to where his body was buried.
Holy shit.
Oh, shit. All right. So it says a 3-year-old boy from the Golan Heights near the Syria-Israel border made an astonishing claim. He insisted that he had been murdered in a previous life. He gave the details of the crime, pointed to his burial site, and even identified where the murder weapon was hidden. When the villagers dug, they found both a skeleton and an axe, exactly as he had described. Oh, shit.
See some shit like this, dude. Like whenever you see something like that, you almost can't even question it no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? What is that?
I mean, a good guess is what somebody would think. Probably,
what a coincidence. It's a coincidence.
So Dr. Eli Lash, a respected doctor known for his work in Gaza, witnessed the event. His account was later documented by German therapist and author Trutz Hardo. What a name. In Children Who Have Lived Before Reincarnation Today book, I'm guessing, it says the case gained attention due to the precise details the boy provided. One chilling detail was the birthmark on the child's head, a long red mark. The Druze people, along with other cultures, believe birthmarks relate to past life injuries. The boy himself claimed the mark aligned with the fatal axe wound that he suffered in his previous life. As he grew older, the child revealed more. He named the person who killed him, leading to a confrontation with the accused. At first, the man denied any involvement, but after the body and the weapon were discovered, he reportedly confessed in private.
Oh, okay. So after that right there, dude, I'm convinced. It's a thing. Chalk it up, dude.
What are the odds?
Can you imagine being the dude, the murderer, and the little kid's like, he did it. You're like, shut up, little kid. You don't know what you're talking about.
And I would have gotten away with it too. Scooby-Doo type shit.
Right.
But it says some see this as a strange coincidence. How could you possibly see that as a coincidence?
Of course, dude. The logical-minded people, you know, that's what it is.
It's like the unicorn YouTube video from back in the day. It's all shun the non-believers. But anyway, it says others believe it as strong evidence of reincarnation. No matter one's beliefs, the story remains an intriguing mystery. And so then it gets into other cases. Like there's so many cool cases here, dude. And I actually didn't even read them. I wanted to be as surprised as everybody else. I saw kids, reincarnation, telling of their past lives.
Say less.
I don't even need to read anymore. Right. We're just going to find out. So it says the Golan Heights case is not the only one where children recalled past lives with shocking accuracy. Similar cases exist across different cultures, strengthening the argument for past life memories. So if this was happening in one place, you could make an argument a very weak argument, I would say, that it's just their culture, it's just their beliefs, and they're kind of connecting dots, whatever, right? But this is across the world.
Yeah.
And this is a good example, I think. It says the case of James Leininger. Leininger. There we go. James Leininger, an American boy, showed an unusual fascination with World War II aircraft. He had vivid nightmares of crashing in a burning plane. His parents were stunned when he shared detailed knowledge about planes, including the name of an aircraft carrier, his squadron, and even the names of his fellow soldiers. His claims were later confirmed through historical records. Initially skeptical, his parents came to believe that their son was remembering a past life as a fighter pilot named James Houston.
That's the one I was talking about earlier. Yep.
That is so wild. Another case here, the Shanti Devi case. In the 1930s, a 4-year-old girl in India, Shanti Devi, began recalling her past life in a distant city. She named her past husband, described her home, and even knew details of her own death. When researchers and family members traveled to the city, they found her statements to be accurate. Even Mahatma Gandhi became interested and launched an inquiry. Dude, even Gandhi was like, what the fuck? You know,
what's going on over here? Let me see what's going on over here.
It says witnesses confirmed that Shanti Devi's descriptions matched real people and places.
You know, another thing too, like prodigies. You know, these kids that can just like play Beethoven and shit, like with almost like no practice beforehand. It was almost like they just already had the know-how to do these types of things. Artists and singers and all this. They just they just got it already.
Some of them do just got it, you know, and that's not fair. You know, most of us have to work to be decent at something, and some people are just born with it. So then it goes on to say birthmarks and reincarnation. It says many researchers note a pattern. Children who remember past lives often have birthmarks matching fatal wounds from their previous existence. Dr. Ian Stevenson, who we were talking about earlier, studied hundreds of such cases. He found compelling evidence that birthmarks and deformities could be linked to past life injuries. I think it's going to talk a little bit about, okay, so it says another case involved a Burmese child who remembered being a soldier and described how he had been killed by a bullet wound to the chest. He was born with a distinct birthmark in the same area where he claimed to have been fatally wounded. I wonder if that's this kid. Let's see.
You tell me what you remember about heaven, okay?
Okay.
Was it colorful or black and white?
It was colorful.
What kinds of colors?
Well, it's all the colors we have here on Earth, and then some more.
New colors. Wow. Are there many people in heaven?
Yes, there are a lot of people.
Does heaven look like Earth?
It does have a little bit of the same texture, except it's a place where there is no sin.
So grass and clouds and sky and mountains, how about that? Things like that, just like it looks on Earth?
Yep.
I know this is a big one. I know you get this question a lot. Are there animals in heaven? Did you see animals?
Yeah, I saw animals, and one of the animals that I enjoyed playing with was the lions.
And they were tame?
They didn't hurt people. They were up there, and they were fine.
Was everyone nice in heaven?
Yes, everyone was.
Was there bad weather?
No.
It was always sunny.
Mm-hmm.
Was there night and day?
That's another part that's sort of faded, but I'm not really sure. I think it's just day.
Was there music?
Yes.
The music that you hear in church, trumpets, symphonies? What kind of music?
It's hard to describe what sort of music when I was four at the time. But yeah, I heard a lot of stuff.
That's cool.
The kid speaks better than I do, you know. He's like, heaven is just a place with no sin. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's all.
No tarot cards up there.
Yeah. That's only for the sinners. Sinner. So then it goes on to say, while reincarnation is largely seen as a spiritual concept, some researchers have attempted to study it scientifically. And then it goes into Dr. Ian Stevenson. And it's just repeating the same old stuff. That's weird. Reincarnation in different cultures. Many cultures over thousands of years have believed in it. The ancient Egyptians also believed in a form of reincarnation where souls could be reborn under the right conditions. Among the Native American tribes, the belief in reincarnation was common. Then it gets into the people from Alaska, African cultures, such as the Yoruba people of Nigeria, believe in the concept of a bhikkhu, where certain children are thought to be reincarnated spirits who return to the same families repeatedly. Well, I mean, that would make sense. It kind of lines up with what certain people call, your soul family and stuff like that.
I imagine you would have a choice, right? You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't want to reincarnate right away, you can just, like, chill out in the astral or some shit.
I would have to imagine that, I don't know if anything is kind of like cut and dry like that. I mean, maybe it's just my own ego that's like, well, maybe I want to try something different next time or something. Like that.
Yeah.
You know,
imagine when you're in that space, dude, like there's no ego, maybe it's not even a matter of having a choice, because when you're in that form, it's just like, it is what it is, you know? You don't even have to worry about decision making.
Maybe it's just a collective decision at that point. I don't know.
Right.
So now the final article that we're going to read is from medium.com. This is
one of our favorites.
Old reliable.
Oh yeah, old faithful.
But it says children who remember past lives, astonishing stories, and what they teach us. And then there's like a little meme, crap, stuck on this planet
again.
So then it gets into the case of your boy James, Shanti Devi's, the implication of past life memories. Okay, so it says stories like that of James and Shanti aren't isolated. Researchers, including Dr. Ian Stevenson, have found thousands of studies. These children often recall vivid details about previous lives, including names, places, and specific events. In many cases, their lives have been verified through historical records. But what do these accounts mean? If reincarnation is real, it challenges our understanding of identity and the soul. Are we more than our physical bodies? What kind of question is that?
I think so, dude. I think so.
Do we carry lessons or unresolved issues from one life to the next? That would be called karma. What some people call karma, I think. On the other hand, skeptics argue that these stories could have an alternative explanation. Some suggest that children might unconsciously absorb information from their environment, or that parents unintentionally influence their recollections. So let's hit on that for a second here.
Okay.
Children might unconsciously absorb information from their environment. Think about the mental gymnastics that you have to go through in order to say they're not actually remembering that. They're just like little sponges, and information is just coming to them. Because
what information are they?
Past lives.
Yeah, well, I mean, what information are they absorbing that's going to manifest some type of story like this that actually lines up with real people, real events? You know, like, what the fuck?
And that's the thing, too. Like, of all the things that kids could absorb, think about it for a second. The internet is all around us. Radio waves and TV waves all around us. Wouldn't you absorb a phone call? Wouldn't you absorb a radio station? Wouldn't you absorb somebody's Zoom call? Or something like that. If you're just around absorbing information, why are we limiting it only to past lives? Let's just include everything at that point.
Mm-hmm. That would involve the ether, my good sir, I think.
That would involve the ether. And then the next one, where the parents unintentionally influence their recollections. I would actually make a case that that's probably what was going on with that last kid. Yep. I don't doubt that what he had experienced. Like, I'm sure he experienced something. But you see the parents, and, the woman is obviously asking religious type questions, right? And, I'm not saying it's their fault by any means. I mean, certain people just look through a certain lens, and that's the only definition of what the afterlife could be. I'm not even saying that they're doing it, out of some kind of harm by any means.
But his experience was a real experience, but it was just fed through that lens, like you're saying. And so, who's to say, man?
I mean, and also to say that he experienced heaven, for example. Like, how could you be so sure that it's heaven? How are you not sure that it's just another dimension where it doesn't rain, another dimension where the animals are nicer to you, another planet where there's no sin or whatever.
Yeah, that's that's the vocabulary that they have to describe whatever it was. He doesn't know exactly what that was, but that's probably the term that they would use for whatever that was.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I think that it's, but people have described places like that, like perfect places, and maybe you could call it heaven. I mean, if you're trying to imagine the perfect place, you're going to imagine. Well, first off, it's never nighttime. It never snows. It never rains for anybody who's ever.
See, I like when it rains, though. You know what I mean? I like a nice rainy day, dude. I enjoy it.
Well, but that's the thing. Like,
maybe that means I'm depressed. I don't know. I don't think I am, though.
I love the rain too. It's the best time for a nap.
Yeah, dude. It's just nice.
But there is something about, like, all right, so you wouldn't necessarily need rain and sunshine if the plants are eternal, for example. Right?
Well, yeah,
like
without sin, of course, dude. You know,
which
you don't need any of that.
I guess all the plants and all the trees and everything just missed the mark, and everything here is just
fucking tarnished rags, you know.
I guess so. But yeah, it's still interesting perspective regardless.
Yeah.
It says others believe that these cases could be instances of cryptomnesia. Cryptomnesia. Okay.
Heard of that one.
When forgotten information resurfaces in a new context. I feel like you're just trying to fight your way out of a bag here whenever you say shit like that.
They're making up words now, I think.
Cryptomnesia. Okay, so forgotten information resurfacing in a new context. So maybe they saw a movie and they imagined what it would be like in their life, and so now. But I feel like name the movie then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I mean, trust me, I would love to ride on the back of Falcor in a never-ending story, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna see through my shit if I'm saying that I was riding on a fucking dog in a past life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But yeah, sounds a little familiar. So it says, from a spiritual standpoint, the idea of past lives isn't new. Many religions, including Hinduism and Buddhism, embrace reincarnation as a core belief. They teach that the soul evolves through multiple lifetimes, each one offering opportunities for growth and learning. When I think about this, it brings me a sense of purpose to life's challenges. It's where if we're here to learn specific lessons, then maybe our struggles aren't random. They're part of a larger plan. For children who recall past lives, it's as if the veil between the worlds hasn't fully closed. Perhaps they have something important to teach us about who we are and why we're here. So I'm trying to say, dude, like multiple spiritual practices and philosophies tell you to come in with that mind of a child.
Yeah.
What exactly do they mean by that? Does that mean go and play? Does it mean to pick your nose and eat your boogers? You know what I mean? Like,
the thing I'm thinking is, I'm not even sure. Obviously, how could I be sure? But like, I don't even know if I believe in the whole like we're here to learn lessons thing. Like, what if we're just here to experience? Like experience the best shit as opposed to not experiencing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's all it is.
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think that there's definitely something to learn from the Ute.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The what? the youth.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, pretty cool regardless, right? So, just want to get over the chat. Sorry, I haven't really been keeping up with that. Whenever I share the screen like that, it's hard for me to see the chat, but just getting back to it. The resident Canadian in the mud said, what if your children come back as you in a previous life?
Oh,
damn, that's a mind fuck right there. I don't know. Nora the Explorer said, I had a friend in high school who had half-inch round birthmarks on either side of her temples. She was in my friend group, so we joked that she was shot through the head by an arrow in a past life.
That's probably what happened. Like, according to our research,
Sounds like it. Yeah, it's just wild shit. Let's see. Joel said, hey, off subject here, but I might be getting a new job that pays $32 an hour. Can you all send good vibes or do some rituals to send good energy over here, please?
Already done.
It's coming, baby. I will light some sage and I will, dance around a fire and get real weird for you tonight.
Hell yeah.
Got it.
You were gonna do that anyways, I think.
Yeah, now I just got a reason, you know?
Yeah, right.
Steve said, I second that as far as pretty much everything that he said. Talking about what the resident Canadian in the mud, talking about the crazy synchronicities. You know, actually, a lot of people say that. Like, that is a common recurring thing of people that start listening to the show. They're like, how is it that I was just thinking about this, or I was just researching this, or somebody was talking about it, and then here you guys go and you guys are talking about it. It's like, I don't know, dude. I mean,
I think it's just what happens when you're vibing hot. You know what I'm saying? And you know the good shit that you want to see in life, and so then you're like living in that gratitude and shit, and then all of a sudden you just start to see it more. You know, I think that's all it is.
It's a vibe, as they say.
It is.
Taylor said, I feel like a lot of us are here due to some synchronicities. I know I came here because there were too many synchronicities.
Didn't have too many.
Nora said, yes, the same. Taylor said, like every show, my mind was blown. Found out Jonathan and I have the same exact birthday. Let's go. Shout out to the Taurus gang. Then Jonathan said in his episode earlier that his son was born September of 2022. Dude, my son's birthday is September 22nd. Oh, let's go. You know what? This is soul family right here. Let's just accept it.
Let's just call it what it is at this point.
Let's see. Resident Canadian said life is insane. Nora said I have the left forearm mole too. It is weird how basically everybody has that.
Yeah.
Resident Canadian said my dreams are insane and then real.
And then real.
Yeah, buddy. That's premonition type shit right there. And then he said, do mushrooms and look at your dog. Life is good.
Yeah. You feel what they're feeling.
Dude, it's like a whole nother level of connection there at that point.
Yeah, dude. And a little bit of like, is he judging me right now? Like, what'd I do? You know?
Yeah. Britt said, I feel like I'm being led to do mushrooms. And I'm like super obsessed with mushrooms in general here lately. So eat up, baby.
If it's calling, you know.
Well, Sean said that the best way to be able to like bypass the flavor, because they do taste like shit, because that's where they're from. But if you're trying to bypass that, then mix it in some mashed potatoes. Just blend it in there, and you can hardly even.
You can eat anything like that, I think. Yeah. Just out of my personal experience. You know what I mean? I didn't tell you to do anything. You do you.
Right. You had told me one time, whenever you told me about how you blended the mushrooms in there, you were like, dude, you could have blended dog shit in there and I would
down the hatch, dude.
Yeah. Something about mashed potatoes, dude. You just throw a shitload of butter and salt and call it.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. It's done.
Britt said this is just one instance. This cup was for sale by a local vendor at a Christmas parade this past year. I immediately zeroed in on it walking past and had to have it. Talking about a mushroom cup. Nice.
And the treehouse real quick.
Yeah, dude. Is it even a treehouse? Are you just on top of a mushroom? I don't know. And then she said, and then I went to Cracker Barrel recently and there was a whole section of mushroom themed stuff. That's something that I've been seeing around a lot too lately, like even to like Hobby Lobby or stores, you know, like that. And there's a lot of mushroom themed stuff. I'm like,
yeah, people are coming around, dude. People are coming around. It's not such a one of those touchy topics anymore. I feel like it's already in the collective. It's like we know what's going on here. We know what's up.
Which I do find pretty cool too, because most of the mushroom themed stuff that you see in stores, it's all the Amanita muscaria mushrooms, which is like the mushrooms that the reindeer eat to trip their balls off.
Yep.
Which is pretty funny. Which is and there's so many theories as to why, like, for example, for Christmas, like why some people, where some people think the origin of hanging stockings over your fireplace comes from. It comes from the idea that you would hang your mushrooms, maybe your Amanita muscaria or some kind of mushroom, over your fireplace like that, and you would do that to dry them out. And I don't know. That's a theory that I've heard before. I mean,
all right. I like it.
Makes a
like
little
it.
bit of sense. But
Yeah.
you know what's crazy too is that the reindeer love that mushroom so much they just want to trip their balls off as
What do they start
as humanly
thinking about?
possible. Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because
Why am I a deer?
yeah, well, they love it so much that they'll go back and as soon as they pee, they'll go back and drink their pee to trip again.
Oh my God. Going in for seconds, huh?
I mean, they
That's,
just
that's called double dipping.
oh, dude, it's like NZT from Limitless. You know what I mean? He's just over there
Right.
drinking his blood off the floor.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
what
mean,
times, man.
you do feel kind of limitless whenever you're tripping like that, though.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, that's because you are, my good sir.
Yeah, I think you are actually. Steve said, my friend's son, who was around 4 or 5 at the time, that I knew very well since I was roommates with him, he had an accident where he fell from a 3-story balcony, hit his head, had a near-death experience. Thank God he survived. About 6 months later, when I asked him if he remembered anything about what happened after he fell, he said that he went to Nowhere Land and he had a pet dragon and special powers.
Nowhere Land sounds off the hook.
Take me. Take me.
The way he talked too, he was like, ever since after that, he talked like an adult, like grown up. But like, I mean, he still acted like a kid. But when I'd have a serious conversation, he was like breaking it down for me, and he's like,
shit.
I was tripping. I don't know if it's maybe because he's into Pokemon, but I was like, tell me more. It was crazy.
Just stops whatever he's doing and just gets serious. It's like, all right, this is what happened. Nowhere Land, right?
Well, I catch him when he was like bored, you know, because I was roommates with him. Like I was best friends with his dad. So
I
it
mean,
was crazy, though. He was a super cool kid. I don't live with him anymore. This was it's about 4 years ago, no, 5 years ago, but it's crazy.
I mean, look, I was into Pokemon pretty heavy. I still catch myself fucking around from time to time on the Game Boy, you know, but like, you know, I'm not going to have a past life and say, oh, yeah, there were dragons and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Right.
probably a very significant kind of detailed experience that he would go into, remembering dragons and special powers and shit like that, because you think
There was more too. I just can't remember it all. He was like, he went into a little bit more stuff, like flying around with his pet dragon on it and like stuff like that. And then, like, I can't even remember it all, but it was pretty cool.
Fucking awesome.
He's like the type of kid that has a good imagination, though. That's what I love about him. He reminded me of like how I was as a kid, but I kind of lost that.
yeah, dude.
Got it back though, I feel like. So.
It's still there, dude. It's still
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, there's a way of tapping into that. But like, you know, you think about like even dreams that you have. You can this is my personal opinion as to why most people can't remember the majority of their dreams is because some of them are so out there like that you can't correlate them with anything in this life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to remember something that doesn't make sense, but it makes sense while you're there. Kind of thing, you know?
I think those are the ones that stick with you in the subconscious, you know, and you figure out what that dream is later.
Yeah. Super Marky said this whole live is deja vu for me right now. I'm tripping. You want to trip extra hard?
Want to
here,
trip
Sean?
real hard?
I asked Sean earlier today. I said, "Hey, I got a couple of topics in mind. I'm not sure. I want to bring up the idea of kids remembering their past lives, or we can get into the science about science and certain details and descriptions about like what all encompasses deja vu." So that's weird as fuck that you even said that. But yeah. So why is it a deja vu? Were you thinking about this or curious about kids remembering their past lives or anything like that, Marcus?
No, that's the thing. I'm not like prone to looking any of this stuff up, but as you guys were reading, I'm like, how do I know this information already?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just deja vu. I'm like, dude, I
This
remember,
episode
like,
happened already. That's why.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I don't know. Total Recall.
Yeah. Oh my God, I thought about that movie today. That's a trip. You're tripping me out, Marcus. Stop it.
Fuck, man. We're all brothers here, dude. And sisters. Shout out to the ladies. I mean, what are you on the other side anyway? Are you this or that on the other side? Maybe not. Who knows? Anyway, Louisa said that's awesome. That would be so trippy. Joelle said deja vu. You were in the correct place and time. You were on the correct path. That's how you know. Like that's
how you look at it.
That's what makes you feel so good. You're like, because we question a lot of our life decisions. It could be tiny little things like, should I go to the store or should I stay home today or whatever? But then there's also bigger decisions where you make like, do I marry this person? Do I have this job? Or, whatever the case may be. And, we question a lot of these things, or we have questioned surely these things in the past. But it's like whenever you get deja vu, it's like, oh, I made the right decision. This is what I was supposed to do the whole time,
Yep. And that's what I think that's what that's for, dude. That and synchronicities, all that kind of shit. It's just to help you along the way, man. Because you have probably already been here before, and it's just showing you, dude. That's it.
Yeah. And then Marcus said, has Jonathan or Sean ever done an episode like this before? These stories are familiar, and I don't research this type of stuff with the kids, but I already know this info. What? Nope, we've never done an episode like this.
At least I don't think so. We've touched on stuff before in the past, but here and there.
Yeah, we've done like the past life stuff and near-death experiences, but never really into kids.
It was the order that you were reading it. I'm like, what? That's when I was like, what the hell? Like, I've actually sat here before and heard this in the same order.
Right.
That is strange, dude. Well, I mean, it must make sense. It must be real then, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're experiencing it at deja vu style, I mean, what if you experience that in another life? Or what if I don't even want to get into all the deja vu. We're going to do that in an episode here soon because there's so many what ifs as far as deja vu goes. But let's just stick with, all right, you made the right decisions and here you are now.
I think that's the first time someone's had a deja vu and on live, though. That's pretty cool.
That is cool. Yeah. And then Luisa said, not about this. There was a mention of it on the cult episode with the acid for squares, but never an episode about this topic from what I can remember. And then so on. And then Britt said, isn't that the same thing with the dolphins and some ocean vegetation that makes them trip? Yeah, actually, as far as the dolphins go, what they'll do is they'll go and like purposely go up to a puffer fish and they'll nudge it, and then the whatever that's toxins out of them, then they get high off of this shit. And pretty weird. I mean, there's a whole thing with dolphins and the birthing process and a Russian guy. We're gonna go there.
Wait, what?
Russian or German or something like that. But yeah, we're definitely gonna do an episode on that one day because that's wild. I mean, as far as like getting help from the dolphins to calm down the mother that is in the birthing process, and then some people, like, I don't know, some people get weird and fuck the dolphins. I don't know. People are strange.
Oh my god, it went off the rails fast.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you ever seen have you ever seen The Boys? It's on Amazon.
I haven't.
There's a dude on there. His name is The Deep. He's basically Aquaman. It's like their version of the Aquaman. But he was like having sexual relations with this octopus. It was really strange. But anyway, all right. So all right, well, Sean, I think it's about tarot time, sir.
All right, well, I pulled one about 10, 15 minutes ago, and we got the Queen of Wands. The major arcana.
Wands. All right. We like the queens. House Queen. It says, feminine energy of intuitive creativity and emotional intelligence combined with passion and heart-centered action are held within the Queen of Wands. In tarot, queens represent feminine energy that includes receptivity, creativity, nurturing, and love. The addition of the fire element combined with with intuitive water gives this queen action-driven capabilities for giving as well as receiving. The Queen of Wands is seated facing the viewer, displaying confidence rather than passivity. Her gaze is to the left, the direction of intuition, symbolic of her connection to water and feminine energy. This powerful combination is much like that of the magician, who channels the divine to manifest his reality, and the Queen of Wands, who has been historically referred to as the Witch of the Tarot for this reason. In this case, the term witch refers to her ability to manifest and is not connected to a specific religion. The black cat by her side, known as the Witch's Familiar. Oh, that's we
trip.
Just did that show. That's weird.
Yep.
Echoes the aptly given nickname. Okay, so the spiritual message, it says focus on cultivating your intuitive powers within your spiritual practice and manifesting your dreams into reality. This may mean spending time in nature to rejuvenate your energy and spirit before returning to your responsibilities. Take the initiative to work on healing any blocks to your self-esteem and sense of self-worth. You are becoming more confident, which will lead to immense personal growth and improved relationships.
Well, there you go.
Oh.
There you go.
I dig it. That is pretty cool. All right. Well, I think what we're gonna do now is we're going to meditate. How you feel about that?
Oh yeah, dude. I'm always ready to meditate, man.
We have a cool one picked out. We've done similar ones before, but this one is going to be to discover your past life guided meditation. It's a spoken visualization. It is by the YouTube channel called Jason Stevenson. 3.5 million subscribers, so I can't imagine that it's going to suck. So
they are not of the scrub type, you know.
Not typically. Nora said, son of a bitch, I swear to God that card was speaking to me. Been literally feeling all of that recently.
Well, there you go. That was for you then.
It's all for you. All right, so we're going to wrap it up there and get into the meditation. For anybody who is ready for that, that's what we're going to be getting into, a past life regression style guided meditation. We've done a few of them in the past, but I figure, with recalling certain kids' past lives, let's just go there ourselves. Maybe we can remember our own past lives, or,
Let's figure out why you got that birthmark, dude.
Oh shit. I don't know if I want to remember that one. Nora said, y'all making my day, you lovely motherfuckers. And then Steve, same here. I'm starting up my new sound healing business. So that card was perfect.
Fuck yeah.
See, a lot of times when it isn't like mind blowing, we just assume that it's for everybody. Like maybe other people in specific, kind of like that. Not to say that that card was against what we were saying by any means, but it is cool to see that, kind of correlating with the people that are listening.
Yeah, man. Yep. And even if it doesn't resonate right away, dude, I feel like we all have something we can get from it, no matter what, regardless.
Oh yeah. Super Marky said, add Steve, hey bro, I'm having my first sound bath tomorrow for the full moon. I see your bowls and got excited. Let's go.
To the full moon tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I'm about to actually I had planned out to right around 10:30, 11, go out there I live right in nature in Oregon, on the Columbia River. So I'm right in the deep mountains and forests. So I'm gonna go on this little trail and try to bring some of my sound stuff. I'm not gonna bring too much, but a few bowls and a little gong. And
hell yeah!
And just do some kind of meditation for an hour. It's gonna be sick.
I'm looking forward to it for you.
This moon, I've had the most positive energy today and yesterday because it's almost at its fullest. I feel like.
Yep.
I don't know if it's usually good for it to be full or if it's supposed to be new. I don't know, but I just feel like things have been going right,
Good shit.
I think there's actually positive aspects of all of the phases of the moon. Waxing, waning, full, new moon. There's always something that you can attribute the energy to, or do certain spell work or certain meditations under any of these kind of specific moons. But yeah, I mean, that full moon, it's a sight to see, and the ambiance that it gives off, I can't imagine. Of all the stars out there that are basically writing our stories whenever we're born, I can't imagine the moon doesn't play some kind of factor in that.
It absolutely does.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially, it being full and vibrant and everything dude, that's typically under a full moon, and this is what I've done, and I found great results from it. But if you go out under a full moon and we actually learned this by researching crystal work or something like that before. But basically, if you put your crystals in a glass bowl, and then put them in like a bowl of water. So in a glass bowl of water, put all your crystals in there and leave them outside under the full moon. That it's said to like cleanse them and charge them at the same
Yeah.
time.
Or you can make moon water. You can put intentions into the water, let the moon charge it overnight, and then in the morning after your meditation or after you get up, go out there and just drink it. You know what I mean? And so that water is just charged with all the intentions that you put into it.
Oh yeah, yeah, and so like I mean I actually found you put it in the copper bottle, dude. Those things are. My wedding ring is actually a copper ring and it has like little magnets on it too. But anyway, it's another story. So yeah, like and something I used to do with my daughter is that my daughter she would struggle with confidence, being a little girl and whenever she was younger. And so she used to always say, well, I can't get good grades. I'm not smart, whatever. And I would just say, oh, well, you're very smart, but who listens to their parents? And then I found out, about the crystal moon water. And I would say, all right, well, look, tonight's a full moon. I'm going to leave some crystal moon water out for you. And whenever you drink it, you're going to be really smart whenever you go to school the next day and you're going to ace that test. And whether it works or not, she believed it and it did work. So there's something to it one way or another. I mean, I just love all this kind of stuff. It's almost like little cheat codes of reality.
Yeah, dude, that if it isn't real, the placebo effect has definitely been underrated. I think we need to be paying more attention to the power of our own mind and thoughts.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, I actually, it blows my mind when people just dismiss certain things as a placebo effect. I'm like, your body just made you better because you thought you ingested some good medicine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were convinced of it. Like, I can't tell you how many times if I got a headache, normally my go-to whenever I'm sick or I got a headache or migraine or anything like that, I know that Aleve is the only thing that works well for me, or Proxen sodium or whatever it's called. And dude, I shit you not. Within a minute, my headache is gone after swallowing those pills. I know that they haven't gone all the way in my system.
They haven't done shit yet. Right.
It's just so weird.
Yeah. Your mind accepted that reality and it was like, all right, say less,
Yeah, you did the work already. That's all you needed to do.
Yep.
And then Britt said, yes, the energy has been so good yesterday and today. I love it. I think it's so crazy that many of us that are here are into healing or having visions of getting into it, a longing, if you will. And then Marcus said, to your point, for me, Meta is a school and every live is a class. That's I mean, we feel the same. I mean, we always say we're not the teachers. We're kind of just in the classroom too. We're not. We eventually hope to get to that sage or guru level, but we're working on our associate's degree right now, I think.
Yeah, dude, I'm just enjoying the journey. You know what I'm saying?
Professor Jonathan and Sean, I like it. All right. Well, look. With that being said.
In a realm where shadows dance with light, through the whispering woods at night, secrets echo through the air, meta mysteries everywhere. Voices drift on winds untamed, words like spells that can't be named. Close your eyes and feel the sound. Journey where no bounds are found. Open doors inside your mind. Leave the ordinary far behind. Colors swirl and stars align. In the meta mysteries you'll find. Power rise from the depths of crystal skies, where the unseen comes to play. Lost in dreams, you lose the day. Chanting truth from ages old. In the unknown we are born. Echoes of cosmic whispers flow through the realms you'll never know. Parallel in every beat, where the mystic story